Yes, I hear you, Professor. Thank you for being with us today, and I'm happy we have members from the community. We will wait a couple of more minutes, more people hopefully will join in. I'm very excited and happy that today we have Professor with us and we have the community members. And we actually Professor will do a review on the most voted token, which is SPE Save the Planet Earth. And I know that some community members said that we have given a call as well to the members from Save the Planet Earth investors. Hopefully they will join in, or their community members as well, so that we can learn together and do the review and ask questions. So thank you again. Thank you, Professor, as well for your time and commitment.
Perfect. Thank you very much for inviting me to do this kind of reviews. And I'm really glad to do this and to be able to share with the community my findings and definitely conclusions on the given token. As always, during the review, we go in 2 stages. The first one is conceptual review, and second one is tokenomics, while the conceptual review also as well includes the health of the token, if the token is honeypot, raffle, and if the tokenomics include basically what's the economy of the token and the health of the token basically says today for the token. So the first point to highlight is the conceptual review, and as always we raise the question, what is the intention behind this token? What exactly does it represent? Does it have any meaning for the current ecosystem in general, and why the audience should invest in it after all? As I mentioned, the health of the token, we care about a lot for the honeypots in order to avoid trapping on some kind of investments and remaining there forever or exiting without any benefit. If the market and the liquidity can be manipulated by having a raffle inserted on it. And as well, we do coding analysis, and we see if there exists any function to add additional liquidity on the token. Of course, the privileges of owners are always checked, and we see list of functions which and what does they mean and when they are executed. I would like to go initially with the idea of the token, and basically I have analyzed the white paper because this is the source of information I could find initially, because as I'm sharing the information, there is no clear website, and the idea is that we cannot basically see the roadmap on all this information. So I went through the white paper, and there are some concepts which I have highlighted, which I want to share with you. Basically, the idea is that the SPE token wants to create a carbon credit market, which allow individuals to invest on this cryptocurrency, on this token, basically, cryptocurrency, to buy sort of certificates which can be used from the company to represent themselves as a carbon footprint or carbon free. And basically the idea is that the inspiration behind this token is that the global warming and climate change which we are facing today, and that has a lot of meaning, but the contribution for me is a little bit weak as long as there is no let's say, direct impact on the return. So basically, they focus to create something which is called certificate, and the goal of the project remain on planting new trees creating a campaign to plant a new trees, developing a new trees, and basically they lobby to the let's say police groups or legal control groups in order to change the current policy. So basically, this is good. Overall, sounds very good. But then I don't see the impact of them on the real market. So for me, the token itself is very well organized, but then the impact on the society, and let's say this is a very, how to say, challenged topic, and the challenge comes from the politicians, comes from industry, and from everywhere. So the contribution for me is quite weak on this spectrum. So as I mentioned, it represents a set of certificates, which can be bought by individuals, can be bought by, let's say, from companies, from enterprise, which can be resold again. And this is the thing which I have a lot of problem with that. So certified carbon credits, this is the called certificates. And this is one of the biggest issue I found it. And if I have a certificate, I don't really know how that certificate is got. Who can get that certificate? Everybody can get it. And what's the contribution behind is just to add some more trees and maybe some more lobbies. But for me, it's a matter of trust, because all we know is that the blockchain is trust model, but then having only that certificate doesn't mean that the issuer of that certificate is the one who have to trust, because according to the white papers, they can be released or in a consultancy with a company, which is a consultancy company, which can advise, let's say, the SPE token, that who can be and who cannot be the ones to invest in, the ones who can be certified on as a carbon credit certificate. So for me, it's a big and a trust matter. So I really don't see the point to engage a third-party company who does for you kind of stamping to which company can be certified or not, or at a certain level. What does exactly that mean for the company? Do they really reduce carbon emission, or how the society will benefit from it? So there are some other concerns which I have found with this token, and one of them is the no scientific data as a reference. So they are claiming that with the Paris Agreement, the global warming temperature should be limited to 2 Celsius degree, and which is already 1.2, but there is no scientific statement or scientific information behind this line, behind this conclusion. In general, there are some other concerns, which I see that the website is still under the maintenance and there is no clear agenda. And there is one kind of promise for the database which can absorb a rate of carbon from a company and to be stored in a specific database. This data is still not available, which I do understand, because that might be coming soon after some kind of investment. And basically, it's not at this stage. And due to the missing information, I cannot see when that will happen. In terms of sustainability, even though it's the mentioned issue which I already highlight, in terms of sustainability, it's not clear for me how the project will sustain. They are mentioned that the project by itself will be self-sustained, but I don't think that's the way how they can sustain a project and to lobby for changing of the policies on in the climate environment, why they need to sell things in order to survive. But it's not like entirely community-driven projects, so they need to do a business on top of it in order to sustain. Still, I mentioned that the project itself is quite well organized, I would say. The team of the project basically has a strong background on environmental sciences, and basically one aspect of this, or let's say strong point of the token, is that the team is very well known. and there are addresses for this team. You can always see their LinkedIn account and other contact information. So yeah, basically at the conceptual and the, let's say in general, the relationship between impact and the promises, I think there is a gap here too, which needs to be reevaluated from the SCP community. So it's a matter of what's really the impact in the end for the project. Regarding the tokenomics, I think, as I mentioned before, it has a clear tokenomics aspect. So you can basically see what is the current supply and what is the liquidity and all the related information. So to do, let's say, a token review, basically we use our tool, we use an ownership checker, and we already have grasped the information about this token, and definitely the token is not an honeypot, so basically you can trade. I have a little bit concern on the rock pool case because there is an account, there is an address which contains a little bit like around 20% of liquidity. And when I do the analysis, still always you can do the analysis from the checker. And if you go to see the token holders, that concern is a little bit over here because it seems to be the deployer or the contract owner holds this amount of the tokens, which somehow can not maybe drain entirely the liquidity because it's quite stable, but then can tease a bit the price. I can change a bit the price on the market. But I don't think this is a kind of huge risk for the project itself. But good to have eye on it in order to be able to monitor the case in case you want to invest or you want to go deeper on this token. All right, so let's further continue on other analysis. Yes, basically it has very good buying tax, but it has like up 10% of the selling tax, and reward marketing and reflection are almost the same, with a small difference on the reflection. So another aspect which we usually care is that the owner, token owner aspect, and the code analysis of the smart contract. And performing this kind of analysis with a token checker, we can see that if we move to code, it is true that we don't have. It is true that there is no mint function, which means that we can the deployers of the smart contract cannot increase the total supply, which is good, which is one of the best aspects of the contract. And also they have freeze liquidity which can be released in time by time. So that's always a good point on having this token. Having this token as a point to invest is always good to care for that. This is about the code, and that was about the holders. And yes, basically there is no concern on being scammed or being thieved somehow with the liquidity. About the history, we have a set of functions which are only owner, and we see that the set of if this information gathered together in the exclude from reward. These are the transaction whenever let's say an exclude happened, and we can always check who or for what reason. We can ask the community for what reason a specific user has been excluded from a reward. Yes. Yeah. And there are some others which are excluded from fee and so on. So this can comment on the changing the buy tax or that percentage on the wallet in order to get some specific amount of tokens for any transaction. So basically using the checker, you can see all these transactions and monitor them before you decide to invest or not on this token. As I mentioned, the smart contract code has been audited, and there are no big issues, or let's say there are just general issue on the contract which doesn't harm the project itself. So what's important, there is no token withdrawn, and there is no BNB withdrawn via the owner function token. So comparing this token to some other previous tokens which we have already reviewed, this is much well organized, besides some issue with the website, the roadmap, and as well with the carbon footprint certificate, or as they call credited carbon certified carbon credit, which is unclear in terms of trust who issues that certificate. So this is exactly a trust model which blockchain doesn't support at many other use cases, including the supply chain carbon footprint, which we never know where the data is coming from. So that's a big issue. Okay, so yeah, this is from my side. And if you have any question or you want to discuss additional topic, please feel free to ask.
I thought that was a great review. One of the things that, if you find these type of things that you found in the beginning, what would you recommend? Asking the community what's up with the website, what's up with different things like that? That's what you would do? Or how do you get to that point, Professor? Once we look at the checker, we reviewed it, it looks okay, like you said. The checker says everything's fine, but your analysis was, when you told us that it's not quite clear on the roadmap, and if you want to be an investor, is the best thing to go to Telegram, talk to the people, or what would you recommend?
Well, I definitely would recommend the classical approach, which is like when this kind of information is missing, it's the first thing I would do is go to the Telegram and talk to the guys who have already deployed this kind of solution to know exactly, and as I would like as well, why this kind of information is missing. But the approach I would follow, if I was an investor on this token, I would really ask them 2 or 3 questions. So what is the roadmap? What is the point being, let's say, holder of this kind of certificate, and then who is the potential buyer of this certificate in order to get the return of my investment right now? This information are missing on the website, so the only channel I would use, or basically the channel I would use, would be to have a chat or direct conversation with them via Telegram or Discord. That's
great. And the other thing that you showed on your browser that I see right here, right now, the exclude from reward or even exclude from fees. Is that concerning? Wouldn't that be concerning as an investor to see why are some people getting that privilege or not getting the rewards?
Yes, indeed, there is a concern here. And as the function itself, you know that this is to say basic checker version, but once we complete it, we basically explain the meaning of the function right here, so you know exactly what this function is about. Excluding from reward is definitely a concern for me, and it should be for any investor, because we basically, as an owner, if we were the owner, would deny the privilege someone to get some rewards. So it's, I could be on that list as well. You could be on that list as well. So it's, and having like 11 transactions which are excluded from the reward, it's a little bit concerned.
The one practical thing I could think of would be like maybe it's a dev wallet, a marketing wallet, or something like that.
Yeah, but that's why. I mean, Checker brings this, and I see when I go a little bit deeper, I see that it's the address which is excluded. Basically, is the address of the smart contract. So the contract itself will not get any reward, which is fine. But in general cases, this should be like checked from all the investors to see who has been excluded. Because if this address would be like a user address, that might be a concern. But this doesn't seem to be, because this is the smart contract address of the token Save the Planet Earth.
Thank you. I don't know about you guys, but I was quite impressed with that review. Thank you, Professor, for that.
Well, I have another issue to raise for these guys. For example, I really am the guy who cares about the environment, and then why none of these guys have, for example, addressed this issue of mining lithium and other components for the Tesla and for other companies, and there is no tree to plant here. It's just that to change the policy that you cannot, let's say, destroy the Earth in order to go to Mars, for example. And they haven't mentioned this kind of issues which are happening today. So that's why, I mean, as I was mentioned before, the idea of the project itself is fine, but there is one component missing, which is trust, because I cannot trust that, let's say, consultancy firm who release that kind of certificate for the carbon footprint. So this is the concern. And the second one is just to plant a tree and to lobby to some policy change. And they cannot do that. I'm pretty sure they don't have this kind of impact to do that. So it's better to raise awareness on the local communities, to serve the local communities, and then to spread the word to the politician, instead of creating a lobby for the changing policies at the higher level.
Yeah, that makes sense. Looks like there's small people in this thing, and they don't have the push or the impact to do what they want to do.
Yes, that seems the case for me as well, because it's very hard to push for these kind of changes. So yeah, it's rather better start locally and then try to change the mindset, and then you go to because the policy will be changed by itself. So it's a matter of natural push instead of lobby.
Nick, you had mentioned that there might be people on the call from SPE. If they are, do they have anything to comment?
I think it was mentioned in the chat, but I'm not sure if we have somebody directly from their community. Thank you, Professor. Again, it was very clear as well for me. I'm starting to understand more the reviews myself, so it's really interesting. And thank you for using the checker and giving a general review. So if somebody has a comment or question, please, let's use the momentum. It seems like everybody loved the review, so that's a good sign.
It's amazing. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you, Metanaka.
You liked it? Isn't that awesome, Meta?
I said I liked it. It was good.
Thank you, Metanaka. I forgot who suggested it, but as we agreed, the idea is to try and do reviews as often as as possible. So we'll see as well with Professor's availability. But the idea is Professor, we started with the community to suggest a couple of tokens on weekly basis, and then we would vote which token we would like it to be reviewed. And the idea is to select the most voted token and to keep doing the reviews of the tokens as much as we can.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I will find my availabilities in order to provide this kind of review, and I'm waiting from the community to get the second token choose in order to start my analysis.
Perfect. Thank you, Professor. We will start immediately tomorrow. So the idea is every Thursday, from Thursday onwards, or depending on the days. Community is very active. I think there was suggestions at least of 9 or 10 tokens. And there were around 35 votes, which means a lot of people are being involved. And yeah, we had as well Matt, who offered to time join in and help us with the reviews. So as many people we have, it's good. Biggz showed interest to do token reviews. I think he was asking for some instructions, and I think with the checker soon being launched, things are gonna get much easier to do reviews. And
the version of the checker will be much efficient than this one. This is still efficient, but then we will improve the infrastructure and also the data pipeline. So you're going to be able to, at certain point, to review by yourself, having the checker on your side.
Nick, is this review going to go up on YouTube or something?
Yeah, so the call is being recorded. I'm doing the screen record. It will take me 4 to 5 hours to upload it, but I will upload it and I'll send through YouTube. I think it's easier as a link.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Since we have the professor, I think even around the checker, because I know there was a lot of excitement in general, and it's important that with the community we are building a momentum, as we spoke yesterday, and things are slowly falling into places and preparing for September to really have a good kickstart. So again, thank you everybody. Honestly, it really inspires me seeing the community very active on Twitter and Telegram, and now with the reviews. So let's keep this ball rolling. If no more questions or comments, again, I would not like to keep everybody more longer. As I said, I will share the recording with the community in a couple of hours, so that other members will be able to hear this amazing review and carry on. Thank you, everybody. Is there any comments so I don't rush it up? But I think everybody's satisfied. So thank you, Professor. Thank you, Randy. And thank you, the rest of the community members. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a good day.